So I think we should start, and everybody will join along the way, as always. Okay. So let's start it right now. Okay, so hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank everyone who joined today. For those of you who doesn't know me, my name is Dagan. I am the Israeli Economic Counselor to Bangkok. For the past year or so, when we entered this unusual era, we have been doing this kind of events, and we believe that this kind of events really bring value to everyone. This platform that everybody knows now enables us to learn from one another, and I think to share best practices. This is why, alongside with my colleagues from Korea, Israel, and Thailand, we worked very hard in order to bring you a real APAC-focused content, which derives of great speakers, great technologies. In many ways, we believe that this region and Israel share challenges, pain points, and trends. I want to quickly leave this virtual stage to my peer, Mr. Yaniv Goldberg from Korea. So I would just like to humbly thank everyone, Niti, Mr. Park, Omri Green from Grow, Ms. Karin Chen from the Expert Institute, and of course the Israeli wonderful startup that will speak here today. We are here in Bangkok for any collaboration or assistance needed. I really want you to try to enjoy today's session and to benefit the most out of it. Be active, participate, and have fun. So thank you very much.
Well said, Dagan. Karin Chen from the Israeli Export Institute, would you like to introduce yourself as well? Karin?
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning. My name is Karin Chen. I'm a head of the sectors of Industry 4.0 and Automotive at the Israel Export Institute, working with my colleagues in the office in Korea and Thailand. I wish everyone a very fruitful session today.
Great, thank you so much, Karin. Hello everyone, annyeonghaseyo, sawadee kap to everyone. It's a pleasure to start our tech talk around Israeli technologies for the Korean and Thailand manufacturing industries. My name is Yaniv Goldberg, and I'm the head of Israel Economic and Trade Office here in Korea. I would like to thank again Dagan Aloni, our economic attaché in Korea, Karin Chen, who is now introducing herself from the Israeli Export Institute, and to Mr. Jiun Song from my team, and to Geb from Dagan's team. Israel Economic and Trade Office in Korea is promoting Israeli exports and technologies to Korea, as well as attracting investments from Korea to Israel. Our Korean team is providing scouting services for Korean companies, and we obviously are arranging all kinds of delegations and events, online events like that. I would like to thank all of you for joining us today. We have, I think, around almost 100 people online right now from Korean and Thai industries. A special thank you to Mr. Omri Green from the Israeli venture capital Grow Ventures, to Mr. Hangu Park, president of Korea's Smart Manufacturing Office at TIPA agency under the Ministry of SMEs and Startups of Korea. He is one of our panelists. And also special thank you to Mr. Niti Mekmok, the president of Thai IOT Association. He is also our panelist today. Thank you very much for joining. Also, special thank you for the wonderful Israeli companies that will join us today, and they will present shortly. I want to remind you all that there is a Q&A button while the Israeli companies are presenting or the panelists are speaking. You can click the Q&A button and ask any question on your mind, even in Thai or Korean, and our team will try to answer that, as well as the panelists and speakers. There will be some kind of a survey or a poll by the end of this event, so we can ask you for your opinion. And if you'd like to have a one-on-one meeting with the Israeli companies or with Grow Ventures or with us, the Israeli economic missions to Thailand and Korea, you are welcome to ask that. This event is being recorded, and if you would like to stay in touch with us, we will give you our contacts by the end of this webinar. With that said, I would like to hand over the microphone to Mr. Omri Green, our moderator for today, to start the panel. I remind all of the other panelists to keep their microphones and cameras off while we are having the panel. So good luck. Thank you all for joining us, and let's start. Omri, the floor is yours.
Cool. So thank you very much, Dagan and even Karin. And let's start, with a short intro about the panel. So Mr. Park, you have 30 years of experience in smart manufacturing, and you had the Korea Smart Manufacturing Office in TIPA. Great to talk with you today. Happy to learn more about what you're doing in Korea.
Yeah, I share the screen for the just a brief presentation. Just a second. I just brief introduce my customer. Did you see this screen? Is
Yes.
okay?
If you can put full screen, but yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a head of the customer, and it is honor of the participate with the Smart Factory online event that Thailand, Israel, and Korea are participating in today. Cosmo is an agent of the government, SME startups department, and support the manufacturing side, SMEs, to build a smart factory with the government fund. I just briefly introduce, and Cosmo is the responsible for the creating the vision of the smart manufacturing and action plan.
Mr. Park, this is Yaniv. Could you please put on full screen so we can see your entire presentation? Thank you.
Just a second. So I have a dual one, so I just again, it just. Just a second. How about, is it good?
Very good.
Perfect.
Thank you. Very.
Is it good? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Just a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Mr. Park, it's perfect.
Yeah.
You can do again. It was perfect. We saw it very good.
요거를 해제해 주셔야 될 것 같습니다. 지금 음성화가 되어 있습니다. 네, 요거 누르시면 됩니다.
Hello?
Yes, Mr.
Can you
Park,
hear me?
we can see it. Yeah. Can you share the screen again? It was
I
okay.
can hear. 그거 문제가 있는 것 같은데.
잠시만요. 지금 네.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Park. Yeah, sure. We hear you very well.
Okay. Just some problem with my computer. Just I share the screen. I mentioned that Cosmo is responsible for the creating the vision of the smart manufacturing and action plans to project the implemented government policy in SME. Cosmo has a Smart Manufacturing Innovation Center in 19th province that collaborate with the manufacturing SMEs to evaluate and contract and execute the government project support project. So in Korea, we almost $500 million. This is annual budget. Cosmo is supporting the project with 50% and 50% budget for the government and manufacturing company. So we have three phases of this smart manufacturing innovation. First steps will start from the 2014 to 2020. We will achieve the 30,000 projects by government projects to build a smart factory for the SME. Second steps, from the 2020, we build my infrastructure, data infrastructure that we call the CAMP, Korea AI Manufacturing Platform, to support the SME. And the next one is phase 3. From the 2022, we will achieve the 10,000 smart factory by operating 5G communication and AI solution. So we are focused on the core action plans. As you mentioned that this stage is a third industrial revolution. That means standardization and factory automation, after that optimization. And in the large scale enterprise, it will be by automatic equipment and automatic process. But SME is not automatic. There are so many workers, and there are so many simple and repeated worker, and the 3D harsh environmental worker. So we will transfer this kind of manual work to the automatic worker. And then we collect the data from the manufacturing site, and we collect and storage in the cloud computing big database. After that, we use the AI solution to the manufacturing SME. So far, we have a smart factory maturity level from 1 to 4. So basic level and intermediate and advanced levels. But from last year, we achieved the 19,799 projects we did, but most of them is a basic level. So we more focus on from the basic level to intermediate level and advanced level. We try to from these years. And we survey the performance of the after the smart manufacturing in SME. As you can see, productivity is increased by 30% and quality also 43.5%. You can show these 3 people increasing the employee. That is a very important thing. So I show you the
Mr. Park, this is very, very impressive. Wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it okay now? Maybe we will give Mr. Niti to introduce himself and tell us a bit more about his activity in Thailand, and then we move to some questions.
Okay,
perfect.
We'll do. Just
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Green.
I can hear you.
Mr. Niti, we have some problem with the audio. Mr. Niti, I think we have some problem with your audio.
Awareness to the people who interest for IoT technology. The second one, we would like to make the expert for IoT technology. The third one, we would like to make alliance for local and domestic, for domestic and overseas partners. And the last one, we would like to make the use case for government and private sector. Okay, just brief for my introduction.
Yeah, so Mr. Niti, this is very impressive. And Thailand, you know, is yet to implement Industry 4.0 from what we know in manufacturing processes. So how far is the Thai industry from going through this transition? And from your experience and opinion, what will be the first step in this technology adoption? Who are the early adopters?
Okay, I have not much information, but I would like to speak out for the concept. Actually, there are some questions for the entrepreneur or our SMEs to ask themselves why they need to change to IR 4.0. Because for some SME, they may not interest, or they may not to consider for change from the current level to IR 4.0, because if they still enjoy for their business, they may not need to change to improve from IR 2.0 to IR 4.0. But if you say the first step, they need to understand what would be the impact if they not change from the current to the IR 4.0. If they ask themselves and they found some impacts, if they not change, they will be disrupted by the other competitors from overseas competitors. So they have to figure out how they can change. And then we can have the government or the private sector, like my association can support to SME, can support to the entrepreneur who would like to change from the current to IR 4.0. So for answer your question, the first step, they need to understand themselves. They need to change or not. If they need to change, they have to consult to someone, to some group. Okay.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. You know, I didn't mention before, I'm part of Grow Venture, and we have a fund of $250 million in Israel, investing also in Industry 4.0 and digital transformation. And we also have a big limited partner from Bangkok that the economy trade mission help us, you know, the GAN help us in the past. And we see the process that they are going and improving, right, the facilities and improving the automation. So this is very helpful. Mr. Park, Korea is a bit more technology advanced in the manufacturing realm. However, it is also still yet to implement, you know, everything in Industry 4.0 processes. And we saw in your slide, so what is the current status in Korea in that sense?
So if we go to the SME, so there are so many people to make a process and the assembly process. So Industry 4.4, Industry 4.0, it will be change their manual job to the automatic process, and we'll collect the data from the automatic equipment and process, and then we'll use the data-driven software from the AI or AR, VR, or big data analysis solution. So we will take a step by step, make a full action plan, and then we will spread out our smart factory to the SME in Korea.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. And Mr. Niti, so what were the challenges of implementing Industry 3.0 and Industry 4.0 in Thailand? Is there a governmental support in this process in Thailand?
Yeah, actually, there are many government agencies. They have the target, they have the KPI to support to our SME or entrepreneur to improve from the current level to IR 4.0. So actually, many department, for example, Ministry of Industry, they have the funding support, they have the technical support, they have many things to support. But the problem is actually that kind of support may not go directly to the target. So the program still on some area, some point. So we may need to have the collaboration between government and private sector to convey the message to the right target. That's the one of the challenge. And the second challenge will be the investment for changing from IR 2.0 to IR 3.0 or leapfrog to IR 4.0. They need to use, they need to spend money. So only the SME, they not have the enough money. So they need to have funding. They need to loan from the bank. And the main problem of our SME, they don't have the clear account system. So they don't have the clear account system. They may not get approved from the bank to get the loan. So if they don't have money, they cannot invest, they cannot change everything. So you can see the problem. It's not only government have some project or some program, it needs other factors as well.
Yeah, this is very interesting. Mr. Park, can you tell us also a bit about the governmental support in Korea for Industry 4.0 on places, right, that Israeli startups can join forces with you? And also from your belief and understanding, right, you have so many years experience in manufacturing. What are the main trends that you foresee for next year, the year after that?
I didn't catch you.
Oh, I asked, also to you what you think about the governmental support in Korea for manufacturing, and does the government put more money for 2021 and 2022 in order to take new technologies and adopt them in manufacturing, in steel, in energy?
Yeah, we will support the government projects from the 2014 to 2022. We'll achieve the 30,000 project by government fund. So we invest about $500 million by annually to support the government to the SME, manufacturing SMEs.
Cool. And Mr. Niti, I worked a lot in APAC in the past, and we also have in the second part of this event, great Israeli startups. So where do you see any technological and entrepreneurial collaboration efforts between Thailand and Israel startups? Do you have any gut feeling where are the best place for Israeli startup to go, right? For AI, for automation? Is there any specific activity they can join forces with SME and big companies in Thailand?
Okay, well, so I think we can have those kind of collaboration between our three countries, or only 2 countries, or more than 3 countries. I think for Thailand entrepreneur, we are open to understand the new technology, to understand the new technical, to understand the new research and development, or new deep tech. So I think now the technology change every minute, so it's very fast. So we cannot stop, but we have to have the right partner. We have to have the right organization to dealing with, because in this world, in each country, I think there are many organizations, but I really trust in Israel country for the technology and also for the startup. I have met some Israel startup team. It's very cool, very good. But the problem sometimes we don't know how to think about the business model of those kind of technology. So we need time, and we need to understand not only technology. Technology is one thing, but we have to understand how to sell this kind of technology to the market. Implement only technology is not the complete part. We have to understand what the customer want, what the market want. So another part is business model. We have to understand how to collaborate and how to have the right partner, have the right technology, have the right product and service for our local market.
Yeah, no, this is very important, because I think, Mr. Dagan and Mr. Yaniv, with all the economy of Israel in Thailand and Korea, I think what we are trying to do in Israel is that the startups will do more in Israel, right? To do the pilots in Israel, and then go, when they are mature, they go to Bangkok and go to Seoul. And then your feedback from the market is so important, because Israel is a great country, but it's very small. And Korea and Thailand are much, much bigger. And your inputs to the startups, when they are ready, is very, very important. So I encourage all the people that join us today not to be polite and tell us what is important, because then we can do much more together. And Mr. Park, so around the same issue, so what do you see the main challenges to adopt technologies from Israel or other startups from US or Europe in manufacturing in Korea? And you know, and if you have any startup that you can tell a bit about the use case, something that was a success story, of course it will be amazing.
Mm-hmm. So in most of these days, we are very important thing is about manufacturing SMEs move to the autonomous factory without human thinking, and we remove from the manufacturing site at simple repetitive worker. So we will view the AI brain, creation the AI brain. So AI brain monitor and analyze and judge instead of the human being. So human monitor judgment of the result of the AI brain and final decision making and quickly action. So human know and responsibility will be incorporated with AI brain. So this is very popular in these days, and all countries today are trying to develop the AI solution instead of the human thinking. So, but in Korea, however, it is very difficult to apply the AI solution to the manufacturing floor because of there are not good quality of the big data. There is not enough the quality of the raw data to apply the AI solution. So most importantly, and how to get the highest reliable and consistent big data from the manufacturing floor. It is very important thing. And our customer has developed the AAS guide manual on how to define the AAS templates, such as the data property and sensing item and unit, etc. This, according to the CDD, is a Common Data Dictionary. It is an international standard. So as we know, the AAS is the Asset Administration Share is now in progressing in international standard. Is the hosted by the German. So we cooperate with the German PI 4.0 and LNI 4.0. We collaborate with them and we will create the how to asset define the AS templates. Also, we developed the software from the PLC to cloud-based big data by edge gateway server in SME. So customer distribute these AS templates creation guide and data correction software to small and medium-sized manufacturing company as a free and open source. So this Thailand and Israel is very important meeting these days, and Korea is very big opportunity to verify and validate AI solution, as there are various manufacturing industry in Korea. So I would like to introduce AI solution that the Israel startup have already developed with the best AI brain and to the domestic assembly manufacturing industry. So I knew the Precognize and the SEEBO. It is very famous AI solution. So we can those solution to the manufacturing SME in Korea. If after the accumulate the reliable and good quality of database in cloud, so it will be take us so long time, 1 more years.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. So, Mr. Niti, do you want to say anything for summarizing the event?
Okay. I would like to thank you for Economic and Trade Mission Embassy of Israel to invite me to join this event. I'm very glad to be here, and I would like to thank you for the panelists, Mr. Park and you, Mr. Green. So I think in the future we can have some collaborative projects together. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, this is amazing, and thank you very much for joining us. And hopefully to see many of the 100 people that are here in this event coming to Israel in the end of the year. We're planning a very big Industry 4.0 event. It's one of the 5 biggest events in the world. It will be on November, and all this collaboration can continue. So Yaniv, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. So thank you very much, Mr. Green, Mr. Park, and Mr. Mekmok. It was a lovely panel, very interesting, and I think you create the warm-up and the build-up towards our next part of the event. I would like to ask you to mute yourself in the meanwhile, and we will turn immediately to Mrs. Lyat Avidor-Peleg. She is the CMO of Precognize. So Lyat, the floor is yours, and good luck.
Hi, well, thank you. Let me just share my screen. Let me know if can you see my screen, my full screen?
Absolutely, we can, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for the warm introduction, Mr. Park. And I will go briefly to introducing my company, Precognize. Precognize is predictive maintenance for the process industry. It's a daughter company of Sasson. Sasson is a flow control based in Frankfurt, Germany, and acquired Precognize 2.5 years ago. This allows a very, very good combination. The product SamGuard is actually combines the 113 years of experience which Sasson has with the process industry, and its 76 subsidiaries which are spread worldwide, over 4,500 employees, with the innovation and top-notch technology of Precognize. SamGuard covers over 7,000 equipment assets of the process industries, plants like chemical, petrochemicals, refineries, pulp and paper, cement, pharma, etc. And as I mentioned, worldwide, from implementations in Taiwan through Europe to the Americas. What is it that we want to do with predictive maintenance? So the main goal is to lower maintenance costs and increase availability. And we do that by finding or detecting the failures really, really early on, when they still can't be heard, can't be seen, can't be smelled, but only can be seen in the data. So when the signs are really, really small in the data, the failures just begin to develop, then it costs, the cost of repair is very cheap, and also in terms of labor. The way we see it, plants, especially process plants, have many equipment parts. They have rotating, static, regular equipment, critical equipment. But as it happens in most of the cases, the critical equipment, the most expensive equipment is usually covered. It has redundancy, it has all kind of special rules, kind of dedicated sensors. But what is very often overseen is the rest of the equipment, all these small equipment parts, and you really can't expect where the next failure will come from, because as you well know, things are interconnected in process plants, and a failure can come from everywhere. So most of the solutions don't cover all these equipment parts. What somebody really pays attention to is covering the entire plant, every type of asset, and really looking for the unexpected failure, the next failure that we don't know where it is going to come from, and as well as the regular equipment, as well as the critical equipment. And we can see that in I can show you a couple of examples, how it's actually the small failures, not the big failure, the big shutdown that makes the difference. Here it's a remote rig, and in the data the alert show the discrepancies. So the process engineer, the process analytical engineer that saw the discrepancy in the data mentioned it to the process engineer in charge, and they sent a crew. So when they arrived, and again, this is remote and you don't send the crew for everything, but since the data detected the failure, oops, sorry, I just wanted to show you the page here, so you can actually, I hope you can hear that, but you definitely saw the leakage here. So this was something that actually was detected early enough. The leakage was fixed, and a major damage was prevented. Another, and this was in a mining facility. Another thing we can, another example we can look at is at the chemical plant. And the takeaway from this example is how alerts can be given in many, deviations can be seen in many occasions, but not every deviation in the data is necessarily trigger an alert. It doesn't necessarily tell of something that is wrong. So the software didn't give an alert here when there is some deviation, neither here when there's another deviation, neither here, but it did give an alert here when the alert was telling of a true problem of the plant and not just deviation in the data. And at the end of the day, what we can really see is that all these small things sum up to huge savings. This is a slide prepared by one of our customers, and we can see here that, well, before SAMGAD was implemented, the reliability factor was around 95%, and within the year it increased to 98%, which is world-class, and even went above it. Now, of course, availability is not, it's something quite tricky. It's not just about one thing that you do, but some credit definitely went into the software, as it was very apparent, and since implementing the software, the availability increased. And also the repair cost went down 5%, and the labor that is connected to that repair also decreased in 8%. But actually, as you know, there are sensors all over the plant, and if it was possible, then we would have monitored these sensors, with our own eyes, because these changes in the data happen all the time. And just a person cannot watch this every little deviation, because there are so many sensors, thousands of tags, and it's not for a human being to watch all these deviations. Also, the deviations not always come as neatly as we can see here or as we see in the dashboards. Many times the data looks like this, and it's very hard for the human eye to decipher and say exactly what is wrong. This is where the AI comes into place, and being able to say where exactly are the deviations in the data. So in a few words, how SAMGuard does this, this monitoring. It takes 13 months of historical data, and it creates a baseline of the machine learning. So this is unsupervised machine learning. Everything is, all the data comes in, and normality clusters are created. And when online data comes in, we're able to say what it deviates. But it's not enough to only have the AM machine learning. Something on top of that is needed, because as I said, this surfaces a lot of alerts. The AI will trigger also the alerts that we saw beforehand, alerts that are deviations in the data, but by no means tell of some failure in the plan. So what we do at Precognize is actually build a model of the plant. We take the PNIDs, we inject all the knowledge of the plant, not only the structure, which is taken from the PNIDs, but also the processes, also what affects what. Again, it's trying to imitate the human knowledge. It's trying to take the place of the knowledge of the process engineer, saying what tag influences what tag, or what is influenced by what tag. So this is after all the knowledge is injected into the studio in a very, very swift process. It's about 1 to 2 weeks for a huge plant of thousands of sensors. The software translates this to causality graph. So it will be able to do all the calculations to trigger the right alerts that tell of true deviations in the data. And SAMGuard creates an average of 5 alerts a day, which is very, very few for a huge plant. If we wouldn't have the plant model, then it would have been like 300 alerts per day, which is a number that nobody can actually attend. 5 alerts a day for a huge plant is something that is very, very manageable. All that being said, and while the technology is working very, very, very well, and I think that Mr. Park mentioned that, there needs to be some kind of cultural change, some way of bringing this, some way to drive this cultural change. Because if in the plant people are used to take care of failures when they happen, or prevent equipment failures in preventive actions, now the paradigm has changed. You have to look at the alerts and investigate and think what is going to be wrong. And this is why we have our analytical monitoring engineers. We have a few centers in the world and our network of experts to smooth this digital transformation. So the process is more or less like this. When data comes in online, and it's 24/7, something that the algorithm, the engine works all the time. There is this mediating factor in the middle, the analytical monitoring engineers that look at those 5 alerts and decide if this is something that is worth telling the plant people. Now, this function could be either someone from the plant or someone from Precognize team, but it has to be someone that is dedicated to look at the alerts, investigate them, follow up on them. And after this follow-up is done, it's decided whether to open a job, open SAP on SAP or something, or send a crew and evaluate what this failure means. And this is actually on the dashboard, and it's very important part of the process. Evaluating what damage was prevented, what quantified. So then at the end of the day, you can come to, you have reports, you can come to management and see how this predictive maintenance solution actually helped and being able to tell it in numbers. So if I can just sum up in... Okay.
ליאת, את יכולה לסיים את המצגת, זאת אומרת, אמרתי...
חשבתי שאתה... Sorry, okay, I thought you just abruptly finishing. So if I could just sum up in just a couple of bullets. So it's very important to cover the entire plant because you never know where the next failure will come from. It's detecting the unexpected issues, not the recurring events, having the analytical monitoring engineers to help drive this cultural change because it's not just about the technology. In 1 to 2 weeks, the solution is up and running, and all this enables us to save maintenance costs and increase availability. So thank you, and we're open to questions, and thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you so much, Lyat. If anyone in the crowd would like to have an online meeting with Lyat and Precognize, please keep in touch with us and let us know. We will help you to arrange the meeting. If there's any question to Lyat, you are welcome to raise the question using the button, the Q&A button, and Lyat will follow up on the question. So Lyat, thank you very much. Please mute yourself. And then we will continue with Mr. Ohad Sasson, Senior Sales and Biz Dev Manager at Razorlabs. So Ohad, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, Jenny, for the warm introduction. So with your permission, I will share my presentation with you. Okay, perfect. So I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
So again, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today and to present you Razorlabs and my company. In the next 15 minutes, what I will do, I will give you a short introduction about Razorlabs, our main capabilities and type of solutions that we provide to our clients. And also we'll go over some of on some case studies that describe the different solutions that we provided to our clients that generated great value for them. So without further ado, I will start with a short description about us. So Razorlabs, we are an AI software company, and we fuse the power of deep learning with heavy industry domain expertise to unlock the next big leap in productivity, safety, and sustainability. We provide Industry 4.0 AI solutions for predictive maintenance, visual inspection, scheduling, video analytics, and process optimization. And I will touch on that obviously on the following slides. But first, as a very short background about us, so Razorlabs was founded in 2016. We are based in Tel Aviv, Israel. We have another office in Australia, in the city of Perth, where we are very active, working mainly with mining companies. We already completed more than 55 projects, and last month, in February 2021, we made a huge history for ourselves by making an IPO in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange in Israel. So now we are also a public company. We're not a startup anymore. And we are very proud of this achievement. Also, two short facts that can recognize as leaders is one that we've been selected last year by CB Insight to be among the top 100 promising AI startups in the world. We've been selected to that list from 5,000 companies, and also we are part of NVIDIA most exclusive partnership program called SDP, initials of Service Delivery Professionals. Basically, it includes only AI companies that NVIDIA is audited, technological audited, for a long period of time, and evidence that they have the capabilities to run their software and AI applications on their on NVIDIA hardware. So that's a general background about us. So as I said, we're working mostly with industrial companies and generate great value for them. Short example of the clients we are working with. So we are working with mining companies like BHP in Ukraine. BHP is one of the two biggest mining companies in the world. We are working with energy companies like Vector, the energy company of New Zealand, and IEC, the energy company of Israel, chemical companies like ICL, the biggest chemical company in Israel, food and bev companies, pulp and paper, OEM manufacturer, and the other manufacturers and industrial companies. But what we do? So Razorlabs operates in two divisions. One is our product division, DataMind AI division. DataMind AI is a software solution for predictive maintenance for heavy and complex machinery that utilize all of relevant existing data to predict malfunctions ahead of time in order to minimize as possible the unscheduled downtime of the machine. And obviously, I will go over that in the following slides. And the second area we provide our client solution is our enterprise AI division. In that area, we solve our clients' most complex challenges that off-the-shelf products cannot solve. We provide them with tailor-made AI solutions that is customized to their specific use case, specific data, and specific KPIs. Now we'll go over a few case studies shortly. But first of all, a short introduction about our DataMind AI products. DataMind AI, as I said, is a software solution for predictive maintenance designed for heavy and complex machinery that utilize existing data that is collected from sensors that installed on the machine, from other layers of data source such as PLC layer, ERP layer, MES layer, etc. Fuses all of those data sources together and utilize our proprietary AutoML deep neural networks to find correlations and patterns within the data in order to predict the manufacturing into the future, sometimes even 14 days and even more ahead, and give the operator the explainability of why the algorithm predicts what it predicts, what is the root cause analysis, and what will be the preventive action. So how it looks, for example, I will show you now in this slide. You can see a snapshot from the system, one of the screens of the system UI. So here, what you can see is a prediction of a manufacturing to a reclaimer machine. A reclaimer machine is a very common machine in the mining industry, used to recover bulk material such as iron ore. And here, what you can see, what the system does, it predicts manufacturing in a specific system of the machine, in the bucket wheel, because the system is compromised from several systems like bucket wheel, conveyors, and others. It says the manufacturing is about to occur in the gearbox component. And the reason for that, the root cause analysis for that is the float switch. And they will also provide what and recommend on the preventive action to the operator. In this case, go and check the calibration. And all in all, in order to give all the insights to the operators what to do in order to minimize the unscheduled downtime of the machine. We are providing those solutions for, as I said, for very complex machinery such as reclaimers, car dampers, and other complex machinery that are considered a bottleneck and critical machineries for our clients, because if they are shut down for unscheduled, because of unscheduled downtime, it costs a lot of money to our clients. So it's very, very important for us to help them to predict this manufacturing ahead of time and prevent them. So this is a short example of a short description of our data-mined AI solution. Now I will move forward to discuss about our enterprise AI solutions and capabilities. So we have a wide range of capabilities in terms of AI solutions that we provide to our clients all around the world. We divide those capabilities mainly to two. One are vision solutions that utilize basically any kind of visual data. For example, data that is being collected, that is being generated and collected from video cameras, scanners, IR, LiDARs. It can be RFID, it can be CCTV, and etc. And here we provide a video and visual analytics solution for process monitoring and safety enablement to our clients, and also visual inspection solution, meaning to detect defects on production parts during a production process. The second area that we provide our solutions are solutions that utilize numerical data that is collected basically from any kind of relevant data source. And here we are specialized in predictive analytics solutions like predicting production process throughput, yield, etc., and scheduling and process optimization solutions. In the following slide, I will go over with you on a few case studies that demonstrate the solutions that we have provided to our clients. So the first solution I will talk about is a scheduling solution that we provided to one of our clients in Israel, an energy company. The challenge of our client was that he needs to allocate its resource every day for performing maintenance and logistical tasks all over the country. In order to do that, he needs to make a decision which equipment and maintenance trucks he needs to use, which personnel he needs to assign, and also which third-party equipment and trucks he needs to utilize as well. But the problem he had was divided to two. One, that the entire operation was done manually, so he never knew if the way they scheduled the task was done in the most economical way. And second, only few people in the organization had the knowledge how to schedule those tasks properly. So what we did here, we provide a scheduling algorithm solution that receive 3 layers of parameters. First one is the requirements for tasks. It's the requirements for the next day task, the following week, and the following month tasks. Second parameter that the algorithm takes into calculations is dozens of different constraints. What do I mean in that? For example, a specific equipment or a truck that is required for the relevant task specific certificate of the personnel associated for this test, and the distance, date, time, and etc. And the last parameter that the algorithm calculates, it's the KPI of the client. In this case, there is one KPI, which is cost. So what our algorithm does, it generates every day the most economical scheduling for the following week, day, and month ahead. And this allows our clients to save money and reduce the cost of allocating his resources for each relevant task. In the next case study, I will discuss about a visual inspection solution that we provided to one of our clients. These clients manufacture metal bevel gears in this part of the automotive sector, and he manufactured and delivered those bevel gears to automotive OEM manufacturers. The challenge that our customer was facing, that he must deliver a batch of parts to his end client without any defected parts. Otherwise, if there will be one defected part in the batch, he will need to replace the entire batch, and that obviously will cost him a lot of money. So here we provided a solution that receives as an input an image of the bevel gear. The image is generated by a panoramic camera that was installed on the production line and takes several photos and images of each bevel gear. The algorithm analyzes by using deep neural networks technology to determine if there is any kind of specific defect on the part. The algorithm is trained not to find a relevant size or shape of a defect, but rather to determine if the part is flawless or not. So that's why the algorithm can find any type, any size, any length, and any width of the defect. And this solution generated great value to our client because it allowed him to discover any kind of defective part during the production process, and afterwards his engineers can determine either to repair or to scrap the part. Okay, so just want to say thank you very much for having me today. If you would like to have more information, please feel free to reach out and contact us. And thank you for the opportunity to be here with you today.
So, Ohad, thank you so much for your lovely presentation. I really like the case study that you presented. And at this point, I will thank you. If there are any questions to Ohad, please use the question and answers button. And obviously, if you want to meet with Ohad for further discussion, just let us know. So now, thank you, and we will move on, just a second, to the company SEEBO. Mr. Lior Akazany is the Predictive Quality and Yield Solution Executive at SEEBO. Lior, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me share the screen. Let me know you can see the screen.
Yes, we can.
Good. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Lior Akazany. I'm a solution executive.
ליאור, רק שים בבקשה ב-full mode או full screen.
It's not a full screen. Is this a full screen now?
אני כרגע רואה רק את הדסקטופ שלך.
אוקיי. ננסה שוב. This is better?
כן, סע.
Okay. Thank you. So, our discussion today will be built from three parts. First, we'll discuss why it's hard for many manufacturers to predict and prevent quality and yield losses. Then we'll discuss how SEEBO addressed these challenges. And last, we will share a demo of the process-based artificial intelligence solution. So we spoke with many leading manufacturers around the world, and we were a bit curious about their operation challenges and when they are in the journey for loss reduction. We started the research with a simple question: how is your process inefficiencies look like? And we got from many of them something like that. This is time, and this is the level of losses. This is your goal, and this is reality. So the next question was why? Why is it like that? We got many answers, but to compile it to a simple sentence, we got the manufacturing complexity gap. This is quite straightforward. Processes are complex. There are many variables to control, and there are many KPIs to optimize. Sometimes they are even coming one of the account of the other. So we want to understand a bit more, asking a bit more questions, and we got these two fascinating parts as well. So the first part is the 10 layer of complexity. When we look on manufacturing processes, there are generally 10 things that make it really complex to analyze. You have asset dependencies, you have multi-variable dependencies, you have batch and continuous production in the same time sometimes. You have buffers and raw material variability, you have inline and offline measurements that should be traced back to the production, and of course, changeovers and multi-products. And what makes it more complex is that the data that they produce. Manufactured data is like no other. It's most complex data form out there because of these challenges and variability. So you have three challenges here. You have first the multi-manufacturer data sources. You have process data, raw material data, quality data. Second, you have hundreds or thousands of data tags. And of course, you have interdependencies between them. Now, manufacturers have excellent process experts that know the process better than everyone else. And sometimes they have even analytical tools that perform root cause analysis and work on process inefficiencies. But still, there is the gap. So what are we missing? So in order to perform this kind of analysis and to bring real value to manufacturing processes, you need to master two disciplines. One is to be a true process expert, and the second to continually analyze the full data set. And the most fascinating thing here is that in these two disciplines, in most of the organizations, are not merged together. In many places, it's different departments or different people even. And if they put them together in the same room, it's a bit difficult to embed the process expertise into algorithms. So how can we combine these two? What are the things manufacturers look in order to solve the process complexity gap? So we asked that as well, a lot of manufacturers, and we got 4 interesting answers. So the first is to have meaningful insights. Manufacturer wants the bottom line. Their team don't need really more work. They want a way to know where is the problem and a way to convert it to a meaningful action. Second, they need the insight to be continuous. Almost everyone we have spoken to told us how complex it is to do an analysis on a problem, and after 6 months to do it again on the same production or even in the same line. Third is the ability to scale. Manufacturers have dozens, if not hundreds, of production lines. It takes years to cover it all if you do it manually. So it's not enough to have these insights continuously adapt to change. It has to be scalable across your plants. And eventually, all of us told us that it has to be designed to their manufacturing team. As data science is complex, you need to take this complex world and to make it accessible to the production team. And around all of these needs, we built an entire company, SEEBO. We took this gap of process complexity and the gap of data analytics and big data and built algorithms that actually understand manufacturing processes. We call it process-based artificial intelligence. It starts with looking at your data, your raw data, your process data, raw material data, quality data, and all kind of other external data like weather around the plant or your mix of alternative fuels. After that, and when we have the access to the data, we connect it to a unified multi-source schema. One of the big challenges of manufacturers here is in fact that the data is broken into isolated islands. And if you want to do the analysis, you need to collect all of them and put them together. For some teams, it takes too long and it's very complex, of course. So we built a lot of IP into the pre-processing step and the data aggregation step, which is especially for the manufacturing data. Then we do something that no one else does. We built a digital model of the specific plant, and using our intellectual property, we enrich the algorithm with the manufacturing data. So now the algorithm looks not just at the data itself, it looks at the data with the context of the manufacturing process. And now we can do a lot of things like dynamic traceability, calculate buffers, and even complete the data. Now, this is very complex. We wrap it up with a simple user interface for your process expert and production teams. A bit about SEEBO. We are a cool vendor of Gartner in the artificial intelligence space for manufacturing. We have a strategic wholesale partnership with Microsoft, and we are nominated as a technology pioneer by the World Economic Forum. Leading manufacturers already prevent losses with SEEBO. This is what Nestle is saying about us. We help to save millions. I'm happy and proud to announce that early this month, we had got a new funding run, as many manufacturers are adopting our solution. In total, we reached to $40 million till now. Now, SEEBO is focused on the continuous manufacturing processes. Our solution managed significantly to reduce losses to these specific verticals, such as baked goods, powder chemical, liquid chemical, glass, cement, steel, and oil. I would like to go ahead and show you a small demo of SEEBO, and I will do that for a specific industry, the baked good manufacturer company use case. And of course, by entering our website, you can go and see use cases in the section that is relevant for your vertical. So this is a multi-manufacturer of bread, crackers, and biscuits with more over $1 billion turnover. When they reached us, they wanted to reduce waste, reduce underweight, and of course, improve their quality problems. Together with the SEEBO solution, they identified more than 140 new insights under process and managed to save more than €1 million. SEEBO enables your process expert and production operator to answer three main questions: why process inefficiencies are happening, how to prevent them, and when should you act. With the automated root cause analysis, your process expert gets the prime suspect of your losses. With the predictive recommendation, we define the right optimal settings, and with the proactive alerts, your team will know when to act in order to reduce the losses. All of these in order to provide you continuous process mastership with artificial intelligence. Now, the process expert uses a problem card to view and understand different types of losses. He would like to reduce and, of course, optimize. Here, he's trying to reduce the bread underweight together with other relevant KPIs like bread that is too short or over-toasted. Here, the algorithm taking data from the process and the raw material, comparing it against the underweight events, and returning us automatically, explaining why the losses are happening. In addition, it will show the values that contribute to instability versus the values contributing to stable production. This is important, but it's not enough. Changing one parameter will cause an impact to other KPIs we're trying to optimize. And of course, changing one tag or just a set point will need to be aligned by others. So for that, we have the multi-problem analysis that will help you to analyze one tag versus all the other KPIs and provide you a safe operation envelope. And we have also the multi-tag analysis that will help you to find the relationship between many tags and data points all automatically that are together contribute to inefficiencies. Now, all of this is important. Your process expert learning new insight fast and knowledge on the process. But in order to convert it to a real meaningful financial saving, we need to convert it to a meaningful action on the production line. And with the SEEBO solution, you're not only better understanding your production line automatically, you are later converting this knowledge into insights that your manufacturing team can act on. So to summarize, with the SEEBO solution, the process expert can understand why do process inefficiency happen, how to prevent these kind of inefficiencies, and your production team will to know when to act and reduce the waste. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll be happy to answer questions later on, and of course, approach.
Yeah, Lior, a quick word in Hebrew. Lior, יש לך שאלה בנושא מולכים למחצה, זה משהו שאתה רוצה להתייחס בעל פה, באונליין?
לא, לא קשור אליהם. תודה.
Okay, 100%. So, just a second, everyone. So thank you very much, Lior from SEEBO for your lovely presentation, and we are moving on. The next and last presentation will be by Siraj Technologies, but before we start with Siraj, I want to mention that towards the end of Siraj's presentation, I will publish a poll in this webinar to let you, the audience, let us know the level of satisfaction, and also to set up online meeting with each one of the companies. So please refer to the poll by the end of this webinar and let us know your opinion. So now, Siraj Technologies, Mr. Othman Alshekh, the CEO, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you see my presentation?
Indeed, thank you.
Great, thanks. So thanks for the opportunity. And as you know and hear in this webinar, it's all about data. The panelists mentioned this and the other startups. It's all about using the data to get a value from the data that we have in our systems, in our devices, in our production floors, and so on and so forth. So we are dealing with bringing the data from the different sources to one place in order to do all the magic that we hear about from the other startups. So we are phase before, in the phase of bringing the data from different sources. We are doing that by using AI and machine learning. We are capable to connect any device to any database or to any platform automatically using AI methods. So a little bit about ourselves. We founded 4 years ago, 25 employees, registered some patents, and we got the Innovation of Excellence by BGU University. Took part of a well-known accelerator in Israel and abroad. For example, we were the first Israeli startup chosen by E.ON, the utility company in Germany, to do a POC with them, as well with Quantum Hub Spark accelerator here in Israel, helping factories to connect the machine that they got in their production floor to the database and to cloud platforms. We are backed up by the Innovation Authority in Israel, Google, and by GE. My name is Othman Alshekh. I am co-CEO at Siraj, leading the business side. Along with myself, Yusuf Hassan is leading the technology efforts. And along with us, Dr. Giora Yaron is our chairman. Is well-known entrepreneur in Israel and abroad with more than $5 billion of exits in his companies. And Professor Sani, which is a head of computer science at PGU, is leading our research efforts. And we all came up with a vision to streamline the painstaking process from onboarding devices to cloud platform in order to bridge the gap between the OT and the IT. So by 2025, more than 34 billion devices will be connected to the cloud, will send data to the cloud, and the software market service of connecting these devices is estimated by 55 billion a year. But despite this forward momentum, a lot of initiatives facing obstacles and a lot of troubles in connecting these devices to the cloud, mainly because the limited internal expertise and the huge variety of formats and OEMs and devices and different sensors that the enterprises are having in the companies. If you can see a typical production floor, you can see machines of Schneider, of GE, of Siemens, of ABB, and different devices and sensors from different places. And every one of these sensors talking the word in a different way, using different protocol and using different format. While the destination, which is the AI engine or the database of AWS or Azure, can expect the data in one specific format and in one specific structure. And if I can summarize the challenges in the area of connectivity, it's the lack of standardization. And the first step of entering this revolution is the ability to bring all the data that you have in one place. The typical solution today of connectivity, basically based on manually written drivers or adapters in the way that we are calling it. And in some cases, you should buy a high costly hardware solution in order to connect the data that's coming from the different IoT sources. The disadvantages of this approach, the manually written drivers, is that it's supported a limit predefined set of devices. So if you want to get the Industry 4.0 and you want to do predictive maintenance and data analytic, you should bring all the data to one place. And the typical solution today are covering just a part from the different IoT sources. And this is exactly the reason that we came up with a solution that in one hand can receive different streams of data that coming up from different type of devices. And using our technology, we can normalize this data, and the output will be a unified format that can fit the destination. For example, some of our clients want to collect all the data to the database of AWS, Amazon Cloud Platform. And in Amazon, in order to put the data out there, the data should come over MQTT protocol with a specific structure that AWS support. So using our technology, we were capable to help our customers to onboard their devices to AWS within a days rather than weeks or months, and enabling them after forward to go into their data and try to extract value. And maybe it's a good time to demonstrate what we are doing by a case study in which we are doing now with Siemens. One of the business units of Siemens is dealing with the PCB manufacturers assembly line. And they develop a software solution that's capable to manage the process of producing PCBs. One of the challenges out there that every client using different machines or different assembly lines, and there is a huge work to be done in bringing the data to the software solution in order to give value to the customers. So using our technology, we were capable helping them to onboard these devices to their software solution within minutes, within days, rather than weeks. and now we are helping them to go and focus more on bringing value by the software solution rather by dealing with the connectivity. And using our AI capabilities, we can, and we already give them the freedom to easily connect any assembly line and reduce the implementation time dramatically. So using our technology will help enterprises and manufacture to maximize the data flow efficiency, will reduce the implementation time, and will low cost the POC implementation by saving time and saving money. And what we are offering our customers and partners is the freedom to easily connect any device to any platform and to expand their IoT solutions and capabilities. And there is already some customers that using our technology. You can see here a few of them from different industries. For example, Hamlet, which they came from the oil and gas industry. They have smart valves that before we came up, they were facing challenges in connecting a lot of them to a one centralized platform, cloud platform. And by our technology, we are helping them to connect all the valves to one place, as well in Netafim, which is a big agriculture company in Israel and then internationally. In this case, we are now helping them in connecting machines, injection machines in the production floor to sub-platform, as well as in ICL and Negev ecology. For example, in Negev, which is a waste management company, we are helping them to manage their fleet, the fleet and their cars that drivers the waste by connecting different sensors on the tracks to one platform. So if I can divide going into the industry 4.2 revolution, I will say that there is 4 phases for that. The first one is that you need data, an IoT source that can measure something, which is the first step. The second step is the connectivity, is to bring this data to a place or destination that you wish. The third phase is to control and manage this data, which we bring our, which we give our customers a dashboard that can manage and control the data that we are connect. And the fourth phase is bringing value from the data, which is the data analytics, the AI, and great ideas that you hear from my colleague before, which is the 4 phase of bringing Industry 4.0 to your enterprises. So you should ask yourself where you stand in regard to the different phases. Do you have an IoT resources? Do you have a connectivity? Do you have all the data in one place? And then you can choose the partner you wish to work with in bringing value from this data. We will be happy to help you if you are in the connectivity part, on the management and control part. You can reach us if you have any questions by mail or by website. Thank you, everybody.
Great. So thank you very much, Othman. And that is pretty much the end of our webinar today. I remind you that the poll is still open. You're welcome to fill it in while I'm speaking. And this was quite fun, quite interesting. I was very pleased. And I would like to thank again all of you for joining, Dagan and Karine and Mr. Park and Mr. Mekmok and Omri Green, of course, and all the Israeli companies. In front of you, there are the email addresses of our offices in Bangkok and Korea, Mr. Song and Gabe from the Thai office, and Mr. Song from my team. They are willing to help you and answer all of your questions. And if you would like to have meetings with the Israeli companies, definitely we would like to support that. So once again, thank you, all of you, for joining us today, and see you next time. Have a very nice day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.